Hey there. So this is Clay, and I hope you don't mind if we're just going to go for a little bit of a walk here today. Today I wanted to actually share this video with you on what it's actually like to get back together with your ex. I've, of course, shared my experience with all of this um, over the past, few videos as I've been going through some old journals and everything like that. But I wanted to share specifically what it's like on the other side of things. And what it was like, at least for me anyway. Obviously, what I experienced may not be what you experience at all. In the previous few videos, I've walked you through the first breakup that my big ex and I had, and then the second breakup that we had. And now I want to tell you, after this second breakup, how it is we actually experienced the whole process of getting back together and what it was actually like. So at that particular point in time, I was going through a transition in my life. I just finished university. I just finished getting my bachelor's degree at the University of Washington. We had gotten back together on the day that I actually graduated. And so I was spending most of the summer in this difficult experience of trying to get a job after school. I was having a little bit of a tough time doing it. It took me a few months to actually get a job. I mean, it wasn't like there was some sort of major recession, at least not as far as I'm aware of. It was tough, and it took me some time to get the whole process of getting your resume together, contacting the companies, getting them to respond to you, getting an interview, all that sort of stuff. And I actually didn't get my first job until November of that year. So it took me, I think it was like 4 or 5 months. My ex was also going through this transition as well too, because she had just finished up community college and she was transferring into a 4-year school to finish up the last 2 years or so of her undergraduate degree as well too. So she was getting ready to move away from the town that we grew up in and was going to go to school in this university that was about 100 miles away from where I was living. I was working in Seattle in the city. And she was getting ready to go over there. And so there was this big amount of uncertainty between the two of us in terms of what was going to happen, what was everything going to be like, and all of that. I mean, here I was starting to get established in the city. I'd recently gotten this job. I was trying to move out of my mom's house so that I could have my own life, and so I didn't have to, commute on this really long, arduous bus ride to get to and from work every day. And at the same time, she was moving out to this small town on the other side of the mountains, and there was this uncertainty about how would we be able to make this whole distance thing work. Of course, 100 miles isn't that much distance for a lot of folks, especially if you own a car or something. But for me, I didn't have a car, and so I had to either borrow my mom's car or take a Greyhound bus. And so the whole ordeal ended up taking, 2 or 3 hours plus various waiting times and stuff like that. So yeah, it was a long distance for sure. Anyway, during this time, we connected pretty well over the summer while I was figuring out the whole job thing, and she was, spending the last couple of months at home before she moved out to this college town. And then as we actually made it through these transitions into the next chapter of our lives, here I was working at a company in the city. I was doing my best to get settled into adult life, and she was getting settled into actual college life for the first time, really. Sure, she went to community college and all of that, but she was still living with her parents and all that sort of stuff. So it felt very much like high school. And so as we started to settle into all of this, this is where a lot of the trust issues started to come up. Like I said, there were a lot of broken trust issues between us when it came to our relationship. There were a lot of challenges that we were having to overcome and experience in terms of I didn't know how I could trust her again after she had just given up on our relationship so quickly. She had these sort of fleeting experiences of breaking up when it was convenient, getting feelings for other people, all of that sort of stuff. And of course, once you break up with someone, it then becomes more easy and natural to do it a second time because it's someone you've already been before. It's not uncharted territory. And so as we started to settle into our lives in the autumn time, some of these trust issues started to come up again, and they were honestly something that did plague us for a very long time. She'd say, "Oh, sometimes I think about, wouldn't it be easier to just start over again with someone else?" Or sometimes I'd, think about, wouldn't it be easier to just, be able to create something new with someone else myself too. But we did care about each other. We did care about each other a lot. I want to make that clear. But there were some major trust issues, and I think in a lot of respects, I just expected them to go away with time. I think maybe she might have expected something similar as well too. But these trust issues did last into our time back together again, and it was definitely a major weight that we had on our relationship. And so this just goes to speak to one of the main things that I hope I'm getting across to you in these videos, which is that, you may have reasons for breaking up, and you and your partner, maybe it's rightfully deserved, maybe it's not so rightfully deserved, whatever. But whatever it is, you have to address it. I know that when you're in this sort of hair on fire moment where you're just trying to get back together, where you're going through a lot of pain, a lot of hurt, and all that sort of stuff, you just want to do what you need to do to just get back to even ground. And that's where a lot of people are when they're focusing on, what do I text? What do I say? How do I get them to change their mind? And all of that stuff. And sure, those are valid concerns that need to be addressed. But additionally, we also want to look at how we can make sure that you're not walking back into the same relationship that ended in the first place. You want to make sure that you're looking beneath the surface at not just getting back together and seeing that as the end point, but really about correcting whatever the challenge, the struggle, the problem was or has become since the breakup. And this is where a lot of that stuff that we talk about when it comes to being on the same team, communication, trust, all of that stuff comes into play. I don't want you to just take a passive role on all of this, but actually be active in this process as well too, because it's not just going to be time alone that's going to somehow make everything better. If you want things to work out with your ex when you're back together again, you have to be putting in some effort to really change the dynamic for the better. You have to not just be focusing on the battle that's right in front of you, the challenge, the obstacle that's right in front of you. How do I get them to respond? How do I get them to end the rebound relationship? What do I say? They're so mad at me. How do I get them to forgive me? All that sort of stuff. But you have to look as well too at what is going to be on the other side. What's going to actually keep the relationship strong? Because if there is a problem that comes up again, it's not just going to be a matter of some text message or some heartfelt letter or some reverse psychology trick or something like that that's going to make things right again. It's going to be something deeper, something more fundamental that's going to keep the relationship strong into the long haul. Anyway, go ahead and leave a comment down below letting me know what you have done to make sure that your ex and you are not walking back into the same relationship that you walked out of in the first place. And other than that, also check out this video series over here where I walk through my personal story of how I got back together with my ex, all that sort of stuff. Anyway, take care, and I'll talk to you next time.